I gutted out the inside of my car to make it livable. So I took out the front seat and I took out the back seats.
Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with me, Brady Hester. Big show today, ladies and gentlemen. We have Avery Romer, the Romer Martin, coming through, dropping some book knowledge. For those of you that aren't familiar with Romer, he's probably most known for roaming, as he does, but he spent several months traveling the country, buying and selling books out of his Toyota Camry and living out of that the whole time, and has gone on several long trips since. And he goes all out in this book game, and we get into a lot of his story in the interview, but it's a really interesting one. The Amazon book business is really unique in itself. There are a lot of resellers out there really winning big in the game, but Romer's a different case. I don't think I've seen anybody go to the lengths that he does to buy and sell books. We also get into ways to outsource a lot of work, which could apply to people of different industries, not just Amazon. And that's something I was especially looking forward to asking him about, is that's something I'm hoping to do here soon. And for those even looking into the flip game in general, I think this interview will be especially beneficial for that. Whether you're wanting to do eBay, Amazon, local flips, Macari, there's so many different ways to sell products out there that it's just a valuable tool for anybody to know. And the great thing about the flip game business is it could be a side hustle, it could be a full-time thing, and the skills you learn from it can apply to so much in business. So it's a great introduction to e-commerce and just selling things in general. And what's really cool about it is the low upfront costs that it brings, especially with books. I mean, we talk about this in the interview as well, but a lot of people think of books as trash, and it's crazy, but books tend to hold their resale value pretty well, depending on the type, obviously, but there's just so much potential in this industry, and I think a lot of people overlook it. You might think of selling books as, a small-time thing, but we'll talk a little bit of numbers with Romer. He's doing pretty well for himself, and he's only a couple years into it, so big things are coming for him, and I'm really excited about this one. Please welcome Romer the Romer. Romer the Romer, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Thanks for coming on. Man, you were one of the first guests I had in mind when making this podcast, honestly. So, just to give you a little background on it. So it's mainly designed for young aspiring people either looking to build a business of their own or some type of side hustle that they own, So, obviously the Amazon book business is pretty unique, and so you're one of the best people to have on for that, for sure. So thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
So for everybody who's not familiar with Romer, you traveled around the country just in your car, living out of your car for how long?
3 months.
3 months.
3 months, yeah. 3 months in a row, and then after that I was on and off for a little while.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd fill up your Toyota Camry full of books and then ship them out from just wherever you're at.
Yeah, so the Toyota's actually outside right now. I gutted out the inside of my car to make it livable, so I took out the front seat and I took out the back seats. And that was primarily for living space. but I keep it that way now because I'm shooting the Instagram videos. And some books sometimes are just like I can usually fit them in the Corolla. So I never put my back seats in. I don't even know if I know how to anymore. But at the time, it was perfect for. I mean, I really pimped out my car. You guys go watch the video on YouTube. I think it's still my biggest YouTube video. But it's just me in the desert. I don't even know if you've seen this, but I'm just like explaining what I'm doing. And I didn't really know even know what I was doing on Amazon back then. I just knew I was making a little bit of money, and I knew I could travel while doing it. So, but I really pimped out that car.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Yeah, I saw it. You ripped all the seats out, like
Yeah.
completely functional just for hauling books.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, when you first went on that journey, were you expecting to get this deep into like the Amazon
No.
book game, or what was your purpose at the
I
beginning?
was not at all. I mean, I still kind of look at this as a stepping stone to something bigger eventually. But I've met people killing it in books, so it's kind of like changed my perspective. But yeah, I at one point I went to like a Gary Vaynerchuk speech in Denver, Colorado, and so I went there, and then after that I went I got an email about Reezy Resells was doing a meetup in Los Angeles, and I was pretty damn close to Los Angeles. So I was like, why would I not go? Like I listened to all this dude's YouTube videos. It's $200. It's like I could probably learn a lot from it. I thought I was going to learn a lot, but really, I did learn. Actually, learned a lot from the conference. But I've gone to 4 conferences after that for like the networking side of things. So I found out if I network my ass off, which is like what Ty Lopez says to do.
Yep.
I don't know your opinion on Ty Lopez. A lot of people think he's like scammy or whatever, but he's fucking killing it.
Nah, he helps a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he said, what if one video before like I went to wrestling practice, I was a wrestling coach from my old high school, and he was like, stop hustling so hard. This was like when I was going to thrift stores all day and everything. He's like, stop hustling so hard just to make a penny and start hustling hard in the networking side of things. And once I started doing that, I started making more money too. So, and I just met people like Caleb Roth influenced me so much, and he's like my mentor, and just seeing how much like I just know that dude has a lot of money. Like he won't really talk about it, but I'm just like, okay, like he's a super, super, super smart guy. Like there's something to this book business. So that's when I really went balls deep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're interested in the book game, check out Scout IQ. It's oh my gosh, it speeds up the process so much.
It does. Yeah.
How many books an hour can you scan with that and your scanner?
I think probably if I was going at top speed, like 11 or 1200. I never
It's
really
insane.
because I always stop to like type in books or something, so I've never really gone like a true hour. But when I bring people with me to scan, I do track their scans religiously, and they'll get the slower people get between 500, and the faster people get up to 800. So
Yeah, it's crazy. It's such a volume game, but
right, and that's going to thrift
fun.
stores like scanning books on shelves. It's different when you're dealing with gaylords because you got to stack the books before you scan them, so it kind of slows them. A gaylord is a term for like a pallet of books, basically, for people that don't know that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's like big league. I mean, geez, how many do you primarily work in like huge volume these days? Like primarily gaylords and big bulk like that?
I'm still throwing darts. I'm only my second year in, so the way I look at it, like I'm throwing darts at a dartboard right now, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best thing to focus on really right now. What's the best? Where should I be spending my energy? So I'm tasting both. I'm still doing cherry picking. I'm doing like liquidation type deals where I travel and I find a huge lead on Craigslist where someone's like, getting rid of, a 5,000 personal collection, like a 5,000 books. So, and then I'm messing around with, I find a huge lead in Connecticut, and then I call my friend. I'm like, hey, look, there's all these books here. Will you go do this for me? And they go and do it and list it in my account. I'm like, wow, that was no effort on my part. And they paid for the book. So I'm like, should I just be sitting down doing this all day and maybe straying away from, driving these huge trucks, picking up pallets and pallets of books because I'm still making money. I could do that 10 times without spending a penny, So I'm still at a very young stage in this. So I'm really throwing a lot of darts.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's so much to get into. Like, I know several ways that you're getting books listed, like, I mean, through people's restricted inventory
Yeah,
for
no,
one thing.
that's the newest one, and that one is really kind of keeping me up at night because someone will message me and they'll be like, "I have like literally like 300 textbooks, which is a lot of money. They're like, can I dispose them to your house?" And I'm like, "Fuck," that's a
Yeah.
lot and then I'm like, "Well, what if I just focused on that a little bit harder?" Which I am. So yeah, it's just a matter of choosing the right thing to focus on. I mean, I have like my personal brand side of things, which is really just documenting everything that's happening. But at the same time, recently Rake and Profit, you know him, Rake and
Yeah, for
Profit.
sure.
He's recently become one of my mentors as well. I force people to be my mentors, and
That's a way to go.
he's always talking about the information business. He's like, "Avery, like you should be selling information. Make a course, blah blah blah." So then my attention's kind of going there. Like I know a lot about selling books, so maybe I should sit down and make a course and sell it to people. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's tough. Like, a lot of times you're kind of burdened by opportunity. There's just so many
yeah,
ways
well,
you can go.
it's a blessing to be burdened by opportunity for sure. Because I
Yeah.
remember the days where I just couldn't think of what the fuck to do.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem anymore.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, man, yeah, the restricted inventory thing seems like it's really blowing up. Like, I'm in your Facebook group. If
yeah.
anybody's interested, go join that. Um, it's like I've sent you something before. I see people asking all the time, and the restricted
How
inventories
recent did you send yours?
last month, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty recently. And
Did I pay you today? I paid everyone who has
not
books sell.
yeah, not
So
that I saw, but I don't know
okay.
if it sold yet or not. Hopefully it did. It
Yeah.
was like a
So
$100 book. So,
okay.
and that's the cool thing about restricted inventory. Usually they're like expensive textbooks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
not
It's
like you're
like
dealing
the cream of
with
the crop. Yeah.
yeah, like, typical books. But so you have that, your personal brand. And another thing I've seen that you're really taking advantage of is outsourcing so much of the work.
Yeah. It's a big part.
So I don't know if you want to go into that at all, but that's
Yeah. We
something
could.
people should get
What
into.
specifically
Well, like with
stuck
your
out?
VA, I mean,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think that's
Yeah.
something people don't utilize.
You probably realize like, oh shit, he's really doing this when you emailed me the restricted inventory and she replied to it.
Right.
So yeah, and I try to reply as much as possible to people because I don't want people just thinking like I'm doing like no effort, which in a way I kind of am at this point. But I had to get the attention on me first, which was a lot of effort. So that's how I make myself feel better about that. But I put systems because once you put like really effective systems in place, it just makes it feel too easy almost, you know. Um, and so yeah, with the virtual assistant, if you guys don't know this, you can hire someone from the Philippines for $1.50 an hour to $4 an hour, and they'll work for you, and they'll basically do whatever you train them to do on the computer. So what I had my VA do is she does a lot for me, but she's kind of gotten overwhelmed with the restricted inventory thing. So now she'll log into my PayPal account. I trust her because I've used her for a long time. There's a way to set up a delegate account so people that are really paranoid about stuff like this can actually like you can go like Amazon. She doesn't have access to my Amazon account, but PayPal's probably worse. So she's gonna have
Yeah,
access to my PayPal
that's the
account.
part I was wondering about.
Yeah,
PayPal.
she'll go on there. She'll actually pay herself now. Isn't that kind of scary?
Wow.
Yeah, she'll be
Yeah,
like,
that is
Avery,
crazy.
can I have payment? And I'll just be like, just request it. Like I don't feel like getting on there right now. But yeah, she'll after I think I did like 3 or 4 labels for people that were sending me restricted inventory, and I was like, this is taking up all my time. So I was like, you know, Bia is her name. She can get in, tons of hours doing this. So all I do now is forward her the email, and she'll go on PayPal and she'll log into my account and she'll make the label and she'll send it to the person, and she'll meticulously track everything. She'll make sure everything's good on the consignment sheet. Um, I've had her do some YouTube stuff, but I didn't really see too much of a ROI on it, like adding tags and stuff. I didn't really see a difference in the
Hmm.
videos when she was, and it was kind of like costing me. It's only costing me like $1 or $2 a video, but still, I was like, I don't want to be paying that if I don't have to. She's mapped out, not really mapped out routes, but she's emailed lots of libraries just to see if they have library sales coming up. So if I'm traveling to Connecticut, I had her email every single library in the state And then that way, I'm not wasting my time sitting down for a whole hour or two. And instead, I can pay her. I pay her $4 an hour, so I'll pay her $4 to $8. And the next day, I just get an influx of emails saying, "Oh yeah, we have a library sale, tomorrow." And then what she'll do is whatever I can do, I can train her to do basically, like to an extent. Like I can't have her be Romer the Romer going out like making these videos. But
Right.
what I can have her do is anything like so I was gonna like I could sit down and map out all the libraries that she sent me, but all the emails have the library's address in the bottom. So I said, hey, look, all the ones that reply, we have a library sale this weekend, make a map of those and then send that to me. So in I might have to make a video explaining that to her, and me making a video explaining that to her might take an hour, probably not, but to really go in depth and make sure I don't fuck anything up, it might take an hour, which I could have knocked out that task by myself in that time, but now I never have to do it again.
Yep.
So if she's ever overloaded with something, I can just hire another virtual assistant and then send her the video of me, you know, explaining how to do the task. And I've actually kind of like made that my goal with people asking about how to sell books. Like I get the same questions over and over again. I've actually started making YouTube videos just about the questions I commonly get. And then it seems kind of rude. And I always try to add like a little bit of a message afterwards. But if someone DMs me like, hey, what do you use for a repricer? I'm like, okay, here's a 15-minute video of me like answering that exact question.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Go watch it. And I don't mean to be a dick, but like I honestly think it's like a better answer than me just like typing in a few letters. And I'll always like add like a voice text or something just to like make them feel important. Then I'm not just like a robot or something. But
yeah, man, that's the part I've taken a lot of note of what you've done. Like for me right now, so I have a full-time job, plus I'm trying to build up some things on the side, and at some point here, probably pretty soon, I'm going to be really maxed out on hours. And
yeah,
but they're not side businesses built enough to like jump fully into that though. So at some point here, I'm going to look into outsourcing some work and make just the most like optimal use of my time.
right.
So like I know for me, I can get a lot of time late in the night or like early in the morning. So like what would you recommend to somebody looking to pay someone else to source books for you, or really anything for Amazon, eBay, just in the reseller game?
Starting out, what you should do is use a VA just because they are so cheap, and you can actually have them really do in-depth tasks that would take you a long time to train an American how to do. I guess you could train an American the same way you train a VA, but all you
More
do
expensive.
is make a video, and they'll learn how to do it. And if you make a good video, you can use it again and again and again. So I always tell people, start with the virtual assistant, and if you don't know what to delegate, just go and get one. And I actually got this from Tim Ferriss. Just delegate something. So like even if it's emailing your mom, like just be like, look, at 12 o'clock today, email my mom like, hey, fuck you. I've never done that. I should probably ever do that. I do have
probably won't try that part.
It's I had her message my friend in Connecticut the other day that helped out with those books. We have like inside jokes we go back and forth with each other, and I just had her like say like you're a snake. Like that's like our inside joke. It's so stupid, and she didn't say it, and I was like, why didn't you say this? I was like, you got to say this now. So it's like my middle school issues are like arising by me using a virtual assistant. But I definitely think it's super hard, man, to like change your mindset from being an employee and being self-employed through your own business to actually being like a business owner and delegating tasks. It's more of a mental block than it actually is like a monetary block. And I always use this example, like let's say you had $300 in your bank account or $300 in your hand that you wanted to spend, you wanted to turn it into more money. So if you go to a college and you could buy $300 worth of textbooks and you're going to make $3,000 profit, would you do it?
Yeah,
Probably
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, what if you could get those books for free, and now you have $300 that you wanted to invest in your business to make money? What if you took that $300 and invested it in someone who works, for let's use $3 an hour for easy math? You just got 100 hours of their time.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
People don't.
It's a lot of time.
Like that. Like you're gonna spend so much money on inventory, but what if you just tried a little bit harder to get free books? Which there's so many ways. I just did a whole YouTube video on that, and then there's so like if you really write everything down that you're doing each day and look at like the repetitive things, anything you could delegate to a VA, there's so much. And I was just doing that this morning because I've been giving this advice so much to people. I'm like, damn, I should probably be taking my own advice a little bit harder because I was looking at everything. I'm like, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table by I have a lot of stranded inventory and it's not hard to fix. It's tedious. I'm never going to do it myself, but I could train a VA to do it. I've just been putting it off for so long, you know.
Yeah, man.
So, little things like that.
That's a good point.
So I recommend, to answer your question, start out with the VA, and then I could get into. I think the best thing I've delegated besides a virtual assistant is listing, and a lot of people don't like to delegate listing. They like to delegate sourcing. And someone in your case, I get it. It might make sense to because you can list at like what 2 in the morning. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can't really source at 2 in the morning. So I get it. But for me, that was kind of my bottleneck for a while, and now we're getting bottlenecked on not having enough listers. I have 2 that are part time, really 3.
Wow.
And I mean, part-time workers, it's hard for them to list a lot of books, and I'm just out running around getting all the books, and I'm hiring people here and there to get books for me, but I've not mastered the scouting hiring yet. So that's my next goal.
Man, yeah, that is the tough part. And I've wondered that too, like, man, what if instead of all this time I spend scouting out books, I spent trying to develop relationships to maybe get free books and work consignment deals and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a better long-term play. It might not be like the short-term money, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So,
you know you're getting there. Like, I recently started feeling like today I had to take a bunch of packages to UPS. I actually have not taken them there yet, but I have not gone to FedEx or UPS in so long because I've had people doing it for me, or at least they schedule pickups. FedEx is not partnered with Amazon starting in like 4 days.
Yeah,
That's really fucking our operation up. So I'm gonna have to like come up with a way to either convince UPS to give me free pickups or just schedule pickups. But like, I just felt like I was wasting so much time, even though I was only loading 5 boxes from my apartment in my car. Like I really it felt really bad. Like in my gut, I was like, I know I'm wasting time right now. Like there's a better way to do this. And once you start feeling that way, you know that you can spend your time better. So that means like you've leveled up, instead of just going out and scanning books or whatever, like you've thought of ways to get even more books by like what you just said, like networking.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a good point. I need to evaluate that part of it.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, outsourcing the box like hauling around, man, that would save my back. That might be the next move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it was a month ago, advice I would have given you is get FedEx pickups, but they're free. They were free, which was awesome because if I have 3 listers at 3 different locations, and when people go out, like that Connecticut example, and they pack all the boxes with FedEx labels, I can just schedule pickups for them or have my virtual assistant do it, or they can do it.
That's nice.
I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to pay them to go to FedEx. But now UPS, I think they only charge like $1 a box or something.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it's $10. I think it's $10 for the pickup. So like, I did a huge library sale down in Baton Rouge one time, and I did use UPS. I paid like $10 for the pickup. So you can do it, but I just don't like paying the $10.
No, I wouldn't either, man.
Especially when it's like a weekly thing,
Yeah.
It's either me pay the $10 or pay them $10 to go. It's gonna take like an hour of their time, maybe less. Maybe it's worth. I just don't want to make them do it. I also feel bad.
Yeah, giving them the grunt work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another idea, actually, I was gonna run this by you. I wonder if you've ever used this. Have you ever heard of the Nextdoor app?
Yeah.
Do you ever use that?
Yeah, I'm just not getting into it. I've gotten like 1 lead off of it. I don't think it amounted to much, but I think that's got a ton of potential.
Yeah.
I know a guy up in New York who's using it, and it's just so personal, because you have to like get like a letter sent to your house to sign up for the app, right?
I had to verify in some way, but it wasn't a letter. It was easier than that.
I chose the option of like a postcard sent. I moved in a new apartment. I wanted to get some mail.
Oh yeah.
I verified it via mail, so like they're legit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the part I was wondering. Like, since you travel and do it, if you could just change your zip code and then
I don't know. I
put
was
out
under the
wanted
impression
ads
that the
everywhere.
Nextdoor app was like the most personal out of all the apps because OfferUp and that and Facebook, even Facebook Marketplace, you can just change your location.
Oh, for
But I think
sure.
that's what makes Nextdoor so powerful. It's more of like a community thing. Community thing. So I think it provides for more of a scalable pickup book business because now you're known as a book guy versus OfferUp. It's like, oh, here's a quick pickup, which could you could eventually scale that by word of mouth. People talking about you, but I just feel like Nextdoor is one of those apps where it allows for much more scalability for like
Yeah.
one neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I know I am the only person who's ever bought books through there in like all of my area. Because I'll put a message out there. Within 24 hours, I have like 15 people
Really,
hit me up.
what would be the
Yeah.
message?
I just say, like, cash for your books. Like, don't let them collect dust. I'll come by,
Nice,
get them for you.
nice.
Convenient, and you'll get some cash for them. Like, something simple, and
Yeah,
I'll have a thread going for like 2 weeks. Like
nice. That's
there
good
was a
stuff.
stretch of time I wanted to get into some of the thrift and library stores and check them out, but all of my time was spent on the Nextdoor app because I was just getting blown up so much on there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a
So
bad problem to have. But but that's the thing too. I wonder, like, is that more beneficial of my time, or should I be networking and trying to develop those deals?
yeah,
So that's kind of where I'm at now. But you know.
but they are pretty close leads, like within like a couple 5-10 miles of you.
Yeah, for the most part. I
That's great.
mean, some weren't. I mean, it's like a 20-mile radius, I think, roughly.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
some are 30, 40 minutes away. So it's a little more of a drive. But
Yeah, I know some people killing it with that business model where they just go and they just do local pickups, and
yeah,
I know a guy doing 60,000 a month doing that. And
really
yeah, so it's a proven method that works. Where are you
nice.
located?
Kansas City.
Okay,
Yeah. So,
not sure how books are out there, but I
yeah.
mean, if you're getting 15 within 24 hours, there's probably a lot of potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was like the record. It was something crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, I recommend people checking that out. And, so did you jump straight into books first for like reselling, or did you try any other item?
No, I didn't even know about reselling. The whole reason
Really?
why I got into reselling, I didn't even know about I didn't know about RAs. What I meant, like, I didn't know that people were out going to Walmart and flipping Barbie dolls. I always make fun of those guys, but yeah, I always talk shit. There's FBA outlaws and there's Jameson.
Oh yeah.
They're always like commenting like stuff about my books, and I'm like, go scan your Barbie dolls, guys. But the first thing I flipped was my textbooks when I was in college. I think I knew they were really expensive, and I knew people. I think I tried eBay when I was like in high school, and I absolutely sucked at it. Like I sent
Oh,
someone like a knife sharpener that had sticky shit all over it, and I got a bad review and got my eBay account shut down.
I've had
And so
bad luck with eBay
I was like, I'm gonna
too.
try
It's
Amazon now. And I started selling textbooks and seeing money, and I was like, oh shit. So I started selling my friends' textbooks, and then started buying people on campus's textbooks, and then I got to the point where I really needed to learn more about FBA and pricing and all that. And I came across Reezy's videos. I was like, what the fuck is this dude doing going to thrift stores, like scanning? Like, I was just like, that's so stupid. And then, like, eventually I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a shot. Like, this dude looks like he's really making money. And it's like, it's real. I went out and did it.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And
It took me, like, after watching a Reezy video, it took me at least, like, 6 months before I pulled the trigger. Because I just thought textbooks were where the money is at.
yeah.
Obviously, I still feel that way because most of my sourcing is textbooks.
Oh, for the most part, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, were you always like entrepreneurial minded? I know
Uh,
about you started like a landscaping business or something
yeah.
like that
Yeah.
first. So, have you always kind of been that way?
Yeah. Like ever since my mom really pushed me when I was a kid. She'd always get me like these weird hustles and sort of like this doggy daycare business when I was like in third grade, where I got all the neighbors' dogs. I got mad money for a kid. Like each person would give me like 10, $20. I'd have like 10 dogs in my backyard. It adds up
Nice.
quick. That's a lot of money for a little kid.
Oh yeah.
And so I always thought it was stupid. I couldn't believe that people would work for like $8 an hour, which is minimum wage at the time. And I was like, I really thought I was making good money. I would go around, I'd cut grass, and it would take me like 3 hours to cut a yard. I'd only get $25 for it, but I'd be like, I'm making more money than my friends working $8 an hour. Like I'm making an extra dollar more than them or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then I did a lot. Like sold bubble gum in middle school. Um, yeah, I just always been doing something.
Yeah, so
So
it was gonna be books or something. It just happened to be
yeah,
books.
yeah. Well, I didn't even. I thought I was going to go to physical therapy school after. That's why I'm really unpredictable. That's why I asked me to see me next 5 years. Sorry if I took one of your next questions, but I mean, honestly, I don't know. That's why I set short-term goals. Right now, at least in my life, like I kind of do have like a long-term vision, but I'm not gonna like map out my whole life yet because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I thought I was gonna be a physical therapist, and here I am sitting in Starbucks talking about flipping books.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah, so I mean, I was kind of thinking of asking something along those lines. So, I mean, are you interested in like more of the personal brand down the road, like developing like, you know, some type of self-help material and things like that or
Yeah, for sure. And I want to keep it real. So whatever I do is what my personal brand's going to revolve around. And so I try to film everything I do in life that I think is relevant, which is right now salsa dancing, which I suck at. I'm getting better, but like it's like I want to see like my white boy moves turn into some like real good moves.
there you
But it
go.
would be really cool to see that progression. And same with selling books. I mean, if you really scroll down my Instagram page and go back to my YouTube videos, what the fuck is this kid talking about? And now I'm kind of like becoming like an expert in the space. So I really want to document it and just show my changes. And the reason why I made my name Romer, first of all, my middle name's Romer. And second of all, roamer is like someone who roams, you know. And at the time, I was living in my car traveling around the country, and I want to travel the whole world. So I know within the next 10 years, I know that's going to happen. So that's why I chose that name. Now, if I'm going to sell books the whole time, who knows? I'll probably have a book business that's always making me some extra money. But as
Mhm.
far as that being the core thing I'm focusing on, maybe not. I'll probably sell online for a long time. I may transition to private label because I really do enjoy branding. Like, and the only thing I've really successfully branded is Romer the Romer. Um, so I'm working on branding my book business more, and I think that's what a lot of people should be focusing on. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I have a brand for my book business, but it's not nearly as strong as the brand Romer the Romer. And part of that is just because like there's a really hungry appetite for making money, you know,
Yep.
and so the reseller audience is ideal for that. I'm trying to find out how to tap in more to a hungry audience with lots of books, which is students at the end of the semester. They want money, but they're like salmon, like during like breeding season or whatever. Like it's hard to like. I don't even know where I was going with that analogy, but they're just like fuck.
I
Well, I
gotcha.
know where I'm going with that. It's like really good for like a short amount of time, and then they're gone. So it's like the last week. So if I could find a way to like get myself all over the country and get all their books, that'd be good because they're very motivated to make cash a week. But before then, it's like okay, I need my book for class. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea for anybody in like any industry. Like, if you can master something and make your own personal brand out of it, you can build off that down the road, no matter what it is, really.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's why I'm not trying to sneak in like the salsa dancing, and I mean traveling's always been like a real big thing about my brand because those things are scalable because they're actually happening, you know. And it kind of like shows I'm not just a book guy. So then I can
yep.
like add in little things here and there, and people won't be like super shocked.
So, will you still stick with Romer the Romer, or will you have
Yeah,
to go to
no,
Avery Martin,
I
or
really thought that one out. Yeah, it could have been like FBA book guy something 1 2 3, but
you'd blend in with everybody else?
I'd blend in and then I'd be limited to to books,
True. Yeah.
um, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Like Caleb Roth, the book flipper. But with Romer the Romer, the only thing I have to do to keep that name is Rome, and I'm pretty confident I'll
True.
be doing that, you know, for like 50 years. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, it's funny. I remember I was watching a Reezy video a while ago. The first time I heard your name come up, he talked about this guy who strapped the canoe to the top of his Camry and
Yeah.
drove around the country. And yeah, so I was
Yeah,
like, no way, who is this guy? And then,
yeah.
so it was pretty
His
funny to
name,
see on the, yeah.
I don't even think
It's
I was called
hilarious.
Romer back then. I was just Avery Romer Martin was my Instagram handle back then.
Yeah, oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, what else here? Well, I mean, part of your brand too that's really grown is this spider killing thing. I mean, what's your count up to now?
It's only like 26, I think. Um, I haven't seen one in the past 2 days. So my
Wow.
dad came over and he sprayed a bunch of looks like cocaine. It's a bunch of like white powder. He put it in like all the corners, and haven't seen one since. So
And were these all brown recluse?
yeah,
Oh my gosh. So is that a
yeah. Every
Tennessee
single one
thing?
I've not seen. I saw like one of those stupid bugs with like they look like a centipede. All the others, man, every single one. Brown recluse, no wolf spider. People are like, you think a little wolf spider. I'm like, dude, I know what a brown recluse looks like.
Yeah.
They're all brown recluse. It sucks.
Man. Yeah, that's scary. We just have wolf spiders here, so I mean, I don't
Yeah.
like them, but they're a little
Wolf spiders
harmless.
are fine.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to see wolf spider. I don't know if they kill brown recluse or not, but I'd probably just let a wolf spider go because it's like the
I hope they
competition.
do.
We've got. So,
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, what else here? So, I guess what's a first step you'd recommend for somebody getting into like just the flip game in general, or books, or
I would
anything like that?
recommend this. Map out every single library, map out every single thrift store, invest in a scanner. Um, and this is advice I would give to myself, and I would invest in a scanner because you want to be able to go fast. And then you can get a Nadamu Mini on Amazon for $60. So really, that's like the entry fee. You can get a free trial of Scout IQ, which is the app that will tell you whether or not books are good. Turns green if it's good, turns red if it's bad. Then just map out every single library in your city, map out every single thrift store, go to every single one and scan every single book. Don't scan the fiction, and then just see how that goes. And if you like it, stick with it. But if not, it's probably not for you because I mean that's really the test right there, I think. And until you do that, you're not like you could really squeeze profit out of your city in a lot of different ways. That's really going to give you a taste of like the quality of books around you, you know. And then you could branch out to stuff like Nextdoor, OfferUp, and Facebook Marketplace, or you can just go into text. Like there's so many ways starting out, but I always recommend that because that's going to give you a good amount of books starting out, and then you can watch videos on how to list the books, how to do all that. But I mean, just get the damn books first, and that's going to be the fastest way to get a bunch of books for pretty cheap and get experience using that software. So that's my advice. I don't even think about like listing the books or anything. Just go get the books first, and then the rest will fall in line.
Yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, if somebody's like first starting out, just wanting to build like some type of side hustle, and maybe they're considering like flipping stuff, why books over any of the other items?
Well, I'm only books, so I can't really give a honest, good comparison about other items. But I mean, they're cheap. Like you could get them for free. You could change your next door advertisement to free book pickup. I'll find homes for your books, and that will work too. Um, yeah, there's basically zero upfront cost when it comes to like inventory. So that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, that's a huge plus. It's, man, it probably is the cheapest item to get started in. I mean, people think of books as like trash.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many people are like shocked at me coming into their house like wanting their books and get
It's funny, like you'll probably
getting
get a
anything
point
for them.
in your life where you think books are trash. Like you're gonna get in a bulk, or you're gonna not be able to monetize. You're gonna have a bunch of duds in your living room floor, and you're like, someone please take these away from me. And you gotta
Oh yeah,
realize that mindset you have is the same mindset that these libraries, thrift stores, people with too many books. They have that exact same feeling, and it's hard to realize that when you're making a bunch of money off their books. It feels like you're almost being sneaky, but you gotta realize you're actually doing them a service because I mean, we sell on Amazon. That's how we make our money. But if you have like a living room full of fiction books that are duds to you, that are worthless to you, they could actually be worth a lot of money to someone, and you would just want to get rid of them because you think they're worthless. But someone could come and take all of them and sell them in a bookstore and make thousands of dollars off of them. So you got to realize that like books are trash sometimes. Always treat books like trash when they're other people's books. You'll be in a position at some point in your book business where you're like, geez, I just want to get rid of all these.
Oh yeah, I had
I
like a
guarantee someone out there in the world could make money off of them. So
yeah, I had like a probably 250 duds like a couple weeks ago from just hauling a bunch of books out of people's houses, and that wasn't a very fun trip to half price books to get
yeah,
rid of those. I wish I just threw them in the trash. It took forever. But yeah, that's a good point too. Like, man, the first couple times it feels weird going into a store buying things to sell again. Like, you think like you're almost robbing them, like, but really it's a win-win. You're giving them what they're asking for, and then you can make money off it too. So people shouldn't be like
yeah,
nervous about
yeah.
that.
No, it is. Yeah, like if someone comes into my living room and I know they're, I mean, like let's not lie. Like if someone took all the fiction books out of my living room that I wanted to take the half price books or throw in the dumpster, and I knew that they weren't making any money off of it, I feel kind of sorry for them. But if I knew they're making thousands of dollars off of it and they kept coming back, eventually I might be like, hey, give me a cut.
Yeah,
And that's how people feel when you tell them you make a lot of money off of books. That's why it's important to not talk about how much money you're making.
yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah.
And so circling back around, earlier you said something about branding yourself like on Amazon itself. Um,
I don't know about that. What do you mean exactly?
See, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna see where
Okay.
you were going with that.
Okay. Well, I mean, about the
Trying to
only
think.
thing you have as a brand for yourself on Amazon is your Amazon store name and then your feedback. That's about it. That's not really a brand. Because a brand is something that
Yeah,
people talk about. It's something long lasting. Amazon's a brand. Pepsi's a brand. Romer's a brand. You know, Romer picks up your books for free. Whatever. That's not how I frame my book business as Avery sells books because now I'm trying to sell other people's books for money because I really like this consignment thing. Um, those are brands. I probably talked about creating a book brand.
yeah, that might have been it actually. Either that or
Yeah,
private label. I meant to get back to that,
I don't
but
know too much about private label, but I know it's super important to create a brand revolving on your book business, and it's not easy, but I mean, whatever you're focusing on, whether it's helping libraries or helping thrift stores, you want to create something that people really talk about. And the way my book brand works for me is I get people just know me as the book guy in the community. So I want to scale that more to like being a big book company that can take everything you have, because and then people are like, oh, what do we do when we have too many books? Like I'm talking about like like a library's closing down or something, right? Like we have thousands and thousands of books. Like we don't want someone coming through and cherry picking these things. We want someone who can handle that shit, and then I'll have a book business that is up to par to do that. And then what happens when you do it successfully, time and time again, they'll call you back. So you
awesome.
can do
Yeah,
it. You can do it a lot of different ways. I've toyed around with textbook buybacks, and you could scale that as a brand. Being like the person that helps the sports teams make extra money by teaching them how to, buy books and list them in your Amazon account, and you'll give them a big cut. So
yeah, they're
solving other people's problems is what is really going to make your brand work.
yeah, exactly.
I think a
Just
lot of sellers don't really think like that, and that's the problem with the cherry picking model. Is the only problem it solves is your own. It does clear up a little bit of space and it makes the store some money, yes, and it also solves the problem of the kid who needs work because you're hiring them. So you're solving a good amount of problems, but the bigger problems you solve, the more money you're going to make, and the more withstanding your brand will be.
yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm looking to create some bigger win-wins, like for me and other people, and get some bigger business, like because of it. rather than
Yeah.
just cherry picking,
Yeah.
I think that's the way to
Don't get me
scale
wrong,
it.
there's monsters out there that cherry pick, but I just think when it comes to really scaling a book business, you have to go beyond that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So, I think the last question I had, so I think you're pretty open about this. So you have this 500K goal. I don't remember when you're wanting to hit that, but how's that going?
This year, yeah. So I'm at 108,000 for the year, and we're halfway. Right now it's August, so we're over halfway. So I'm gonna have to do a lot of work, but I really do think I can hit it, and it just comes down to. I think it comes down to networking and really finding these bigger leads for books. And right now, my bigger leads are people with a lot of restricted inventory. You know, or getting other people to me finding leads for them, like that 5,000 personal collection example, and doing that a couple times a day, and then eventually we'll stumble across something really big, and all it takes is something really big to really get your inventory up. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just trusting the process, grinding, doing what works, and filming it all in the process.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you mentioned the other day, I think you posted a question like this in the Facebook group. I'm just kind of wondering for people like early on if this is an option you're providing to people. If you're still interested in doing that 20% of like potential profit if
Oh
they just
yeah,
send the
yeah,
books into you. I don't know if
yeah,
that's an option for
exactly. Yeah.
people.
So if 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 someone goes out and finds a bunch of books, and of course they'd have to send the ISBN list my way. We look at it and we project the profit, and let's say the profit's $1,000. I pay $200 up front. So it's a way to create cash flow for beginners. It's a way for someone like me to up my inventory.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm just thinking like if somebody doesn't have all the supplies or things like that, but they can get their hands
Yeah.
on some books, they can just
Yeah,
send
I
them to
have a
you and
couple
get
of
some
people going
cash.
out and just scanning books for me, and I just pay them per book. So I'm like, look, I'm going to pay you $3 for every book that meets these criteria. I give them Scout IQ team mode where I set the triggers. You can actually change the triggers from your phone or computer. And I'll do, okay, I'm paying $3 for all these books. What would make it worth it for me? They go out and they find a bunch of books, ship them to my house, and pay them $3 a pop for them.
Nice.
So yeah,
And yeah, so I have Scout IQ, but how much extra is it for team mode, or is that part of?
$100 per subscription.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, I was curious about that part of it too.
and also note this. So like, let's say you want your grandma to go scan for you, and then you also want your little sister to go out, and your little sister can only scan after school from like 3 to 5. And your grandma can only scan in the morning. They can share a subscription
Oh,
because
cool.
they're going to be on separate. As long as they're not logged in at the same time, it won't force log them out.
So really, like, if you pay for one additional like subscription for the team mode, it's just another login, but it's not
Right,
like one
right.
person.
Yeah, like I think I have 3 additional team modes right now. So I think I have 4 total accounts,
Cool.
but I definitely have more than 4 people using it. And sometimes they'll force log each other off, and I'll have to like think about it. Like, oh wait, which account's inactive right now? And I'll have to make sure the trigger set goes along with wherever they're scanning, because you can have each account set up with different triggers. So like, let's say Andrew's one of the guys that goes out for me. He's got his own trigger set. It's called Andrew. And then there's a bookstore near my house called McKay's. And so there's a trigger set called McKay's for that. And there's also when I have Gaylords, which is basically when I have books in front of me, I'll send in anything that makes me $1. So I have a trigger set for that as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
pretty necessary tool if you want to scale up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dope.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on. Do you have anything else you want to talk about or plug?
No. I mean, if you guys want, go check out my 10x listing method. That'll show you how to send books out really fast. That's roamwithromer.com/10x. But I think the most important thing about going to roamwithromer.com/10x, don't go to roamwithromer.com. just by itself. It's not very pimped out yet. I'm working on it, but 4/10X is pretty pimped out, and it gets you on this email list. And I really break down a lot of like written content. I break down book selling in the form of written content. So I really think it's got a lot of good shit. So
Yeah, for sure.
check that out. And then I'm also on Instagram, Romer the Romer. That's RONER, the ROAMER. YouTube, Snapchat. It's all the same. Romer the Romer seller community. You're just talking about that.
Yep.
We're pretty open in there. I try not to filter too many people. And yeah, that's it. If you guys want to do business with books anyway, maybe you're watching this and you're not a big bookseller and you have lots of books, hit me up.
Yeah, for sure. Send him your books.
Yeah, if you guys got restricted inventory, so I got like 1,000 things to plug. If you guys have restricted inventory, I'll sell them for you. That's a 50-50 split. You guys can actually dispose that directly from Amazon to my lister's house, or you guys can pay for shipping. We'll create the label, you pay for shipping, and we'll get it to the lister's house as well. So.
Yeah, so I did that once. It's super easy, so nobody be like intimidated by it or anything.
Which options you go with?
So, you sent me the, well, so I hadn't sent it to Amazon yet.
Okay.
So you just sent me the label, and then I paid for the shipping and sent it to you. So.
Gotcha. I'm wondering if I think theoretically it'd be cheaper for people to send books to Amazon, wait for them to get stranded, and then dispose them to my lister's house. It'll obviously take much longer. I never recommended that to anyone, but I thought about it because you're paying about 20 cents. You're probably paying about 40 cents for a book to get to Amazon. You're paying 50 cents to be removed. You're paying less than $1 versus $3 or $4 media mill.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it'd probably take
3 or 4 weeks. At least.
Yeah, you'd be waiting a little bit. But it would be cheaper up front, I guess. But cool, yeah. Avery Romer, the Romer Martin, thanks a lot for coming on. I'll keep following along on your stuff, so I recommend it to everybody else too.
Appreciate you, brother.
Cool, thanks. There he was, Romer the Romer. That was some good stuff. Dropped a lot of inside knowledge in books. If you're interested in just flipping things in general, books are a great way to start. They're so cheap. They're very easy to ship. And you have people like Romer who drop tons of free knowledge out there. He has a great Facebook group, as do some of the other booksellers out there, but I recommend checking out Romer's. I know I've learned a lot in that group. It ranges from beginner to expert, so you get lots of opinions, lots of great information. So I recommend checking that out. And as always, thanks so much for tuning in. Please subscribe if you have not done so yet. And I would love if you would drop me a review. And if you want to connect, you can follow me at Braddog Media on Twitter, Braddog Media on Instagram, and Braddog Media on YouTube. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at Brady Hester. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.